And welcome back to the channel. Today's video, you guessed it right, looking at the GX Tank 140, as well as two different sensors, power supply, and as well we'll connect it to Node-RED. Let's get started. Hey, thanks for watching again. In today's video we will talk about how to connect the GX Tank 140 and connect not one, two different sensors, as well as an external power supply for the GX Tank. So this video is dedicated just for the GX Tank 140, but also for any Raspberry Pi connection. It might also work in a similar fashion with your CerboGX, because we will just use those connectors which are delivered with the GX Tank. So let's get started with the GX Tank first. The first thing we need to do, actually, it's this little device, GX Tank. And it comes with a USB, which is already connected to my Raspberry Pi. In my case, it's a USB hub, actually. So I'm connecting it to the USB hub. And then it highly depends on the type of sensor we're using. So we have one over here. I want to start with this one, which is a steel float switch. They describe it for water, pump, tank, swim, pool, garden. And it actually does only have two different positions. So it is either this position or this position. There's nothing in between. So it means it's only, it reaches a certain level and then it's just open or closed, like a water pump or something like that. When it's full like this, you have it angled like this, or the other way around. It's full, this is empty, and that one, it should trigger the water pump to come on and push water into the pool, for example. As well as we have this sensor. This is a water level sensor, which actually has also, it can tell you in a milliamperage values the level of how full your, for example, in an RV, your 20-gallon water tank is. Or what we will experiment with, just to showcase it, because I don't have a water tank, we'll use a 1-liter bottle. You can use a 1 gallon, you can use whatever. I'll show you where to set it up, and then you can test it. I just have a 1-liter bottle. It's easier because I'm working here on my desk, actually, and I don't have space for a 20-gallon water tank. I can't fill it up that quick. So we talked about those, as well as an external power supply. This is only part of it, and I wired it already up. I'll show you in a second, but the plug, actually, the household plug, you plug in just normal household plug, power plug, or whatever outlet, in a power outlet. That's all. And then it comes with this adapter here. And this adapter I wired, and you can see that it's negative, positive, and then I have an extra wire which is negative, positive, and I connected it to this one over here, which is also delivered by the Victron GX Tank, this unit. And you can see there's an external power supply, and I wanted to have it because we might need it for this one. I saw sometimes my display flickering. I think it doesn't have enough power, so that's why I thought I'll just do it. Not sure if that's the reason why it's flickering. Maybe there's a different one. We're not going into that one. So I'll plug it in here. I will plug in this side as well. And we'll talk about this water level sensor first, because I like to work with this one, and that's actually what I think makes the most sense for any RV person out there, how to connect it to a GX Tank 140. This one comes also with long wire, and as mentioned, it needs a 24-volt power supply, same with the GX Tank here, the unit. And I connected also here already. I did connect already here, negative and positive, and it does actually plug in like so. So that means I want to plug it into channel 1 over here, and it's called V out and in. Those two I will connect, so keep that in mind. The red one is V out and the in is the black one. So that's how I will connect it. And I want to make sure that you remember also and see how it's wired. And I'm using, by the way, ferrules, very small ferrules. I forgot the size. I'll put it in here when I see them. I use ferrules for the power supply, but also for here. I have it configured already. We'll go through the configuration. Channel 1. And as so far you see here in the bottom, fresh water, question marks, because there's no power supply and we need the external power supply, which means I will plug in here my external power supply, ding. And now we can see it's at 4% right now. Sorry, it's at 3% and less. So that's the first one. Then we will use this one, and I'll show you the configuration, because we are using milliamperage on this one. I'll show you the configuration, how I configure this one in case you want to rebuild it. So let's do this other sensor. And the other sensor will connect into channel 3, and it doesn't need a power supply, and I actually don't know which colors the wires had in here. I just connected them also to 24 volts and in, and here this side channel 3 and 4, they don't need an external power supply. You will see that also in the configuration. Versus channel 1 and 2, you need an external power supply. Plugging this one in. And here you can see it's at 0%. Let me push this all the way to 100%, just here, and it's full. It's configured to 5 liter at the moment. I'll show you what it means. I also configured it to gray tank. So 0% all the way down, and when I even push it just in the middle, you'll see it's either 0 or 100. So it's on or off, and that's what you can work with. All right, that's all about this one. What I want to do, I will use this bottle, and I will mainly not use this one, but I will keep it connected, and I will just put in the sensor like so, and I'll get some water. The sensor over here. I will pour in some water and try to not make a mess. Please look at what's happening. I'll stop here. You can see it is slowly adjusting. Of course it's red and blue and whatnot. And then let's see if it stops at one point. And as mentioned, I will look into the configuration afterwards. Let me pour in more, a little bit more at least, like so. And now we are at, correct, almost 50%. Is that what it is? Yeah, nice. All right, we'll stop here. And you can see here on this side, I have the other sensor, closing it or open it, whatever you want to call it. So let's see what I've done. Going into the menu is the most important. So it means menu, and then you can see I have a freshwater tank, and the other one is gray or wastewater tank down here. And we have 4 channels. So let me start with the basics. So go to the settings first. And when you have connected it with USB to your Raspberry Pi, you will be able to go all the way down to input output, and it is an analog inputs, and then you can see I have 4 inputs, input 4, 3, 2, 1, which is channel 1 is input 1, channel 2 is input 2, channel 3, and input 4 is channel 4 obviously, and I have deactivated those because I don't need them. I have nothing connected. That's the main reason. When you plug it in first time, you will see all 4, and then you have to configure which one you want to use, and that's how you activate them, just to show them up. Let me go back, and then we have one other thing which we can, when you go to, where is it? Display and languages, I believe. There is show tank overview. That also needs to be activated. And I think that's pretty much it. We can change some settings over here, show tanks, temp, digital input overview. I've not done that, so I'll activate it. I have no idea what it does. All right, now go to page back, because they will pop up here in this overview. So when I go to this view, I have the relay view, and then I have the tank overview, which is cool. You have it separate if you want to. Then I have this view. Okay, I didn't have that before, I think. I don't know what the other one does, actually. Maybe you don't need it. Maybe you can answer the question why it is there. Anyways, we'll continue here with the configuration for our freshwater tank first. That means let's go to menu. And now we have the freshwater tank, which might be called different in your case, because when you start, you might not see 55%, 1 liter. You don't see that. And 1 liter, by the way, is pretty inaccurate. So the capacity, based on what tank you have, you will adjust this. And in my case, that's pretty much what I'm doing. That's fine. And I'll jump to the fluid type real quick, because I have freshwater tank. You might see fuel at the beginning. I don't know. You have to or can adjust if you want to. I believe that there's nothing changing here. And the sensor here I'm working with for the freshwater tank, which is the water, which is in the 1 liter bottle here. Very important, and you see here also the volume unit. I changed it to liter because I don't have a bigger one. There's gallon and everything else you can change. Important is the sensor type, and that's based on what you've ordered or bought. And I bought a water level sensor, which has a DC 24 voltage. It has between 4 and 20 milliamps. Right now you see I have configured from 4 to 4.6. So when empty, 4 is the lowest point which it can get. 4.6 in this case, how did I get there? I filled up the bottle all the way to full, and then I entered the 4.6 milliliter here. You know, it's just plus and minus, that's all what you do here. But how do you get that? And now you remember we have 55%, right? You can go down and then you can see, oh, we have an average time and we have a sensor value. So right now it tells me whatever level of what I have in there, it's 4.3. So you want to fill it up all the way to full, ideally, and see what's the milliamperage value there. That's your full, and that's what you will use. And I like, sorry, the average time, I don't know, I want to reduce it to 1 second. I know that's a lot, but I want to have it updated every second or so. I want to see how quickly this goes. And you can see here, now I could add water. I want to go down. When I add water to it, it should change a little bit as well. Now it changed to 4.4, etc., right? And when it's full, all the way full, I didn't make it full, but that's the value you want to add into sensor value when full. So 1 liter is very inaccurate, I feel like, because it's so little. I don't know what case you would use a 1 liter. But I saw, or used to maybe, when I had it empty 4.0, it said 3%. It went never down to 0% for me. I don't know why, but I think it's very inaccurate in this case. Maybe the higher or more expensive water level sensors, they're different. Might be possible. But that's how you configure this one. And yes, you have to change the sensor type. Very important. There are 2, voltage and current. So this one is based on current. That's what I bought. I hope I made it very clear. So that's how you configure this one. And very important is how you connect the wires, and I had to play around with that quite a lot before I get there. So, all right, that's the freshwater tank. You can, I believe, also set up, not in here, but you can change the name, whatever you need. You see the serial number. I don't need to see that, but you can also look in here. When you go all the way down, you can do the low-level alarm and high-level alarm, and you saw with, I believe, yeah, 15%. And there's a delay. You can enable the alarm if you want to, so you see it and get notifications. All right, going back, and you saw 4.4 is equals to 64, 68. It's you see. I'm also shaking on a table, so it might also it can vary, especially when you have 1 second as a change. So it might just when you drive change the status of full. So when it's in your RV, it changes the status of full or the level quite frequently, so you might want to adjust that. Maybe, because you're not training it all at once, you will train it over little times. 10 seconds, 30 seconds might be totally sufficient. And this one is not jumping up and down all the time. All right, let me go down, because the other one is wastewater. So it starts with W, and everything is sorted by, sorted by alphabet. Water, wastewater tank, can close it. So here we go, 0%, 100%. Let's go into those settings and look at this one, because there we go. I just configured 5 liter. As you see, it's just laying around because it's an on and off switch, basically, if you want to say that. And it highly depends on your installation. But you can use whatever you need to use here. Maybe it's a 200 liter, maybe whatever it is. Maybe it's not a liter. Maybe it's a different volume unit. Like, what do they have? Yeah. Or cubic meter, maybe that's what it is. Maybe for a pool, who knows? Maybe it is your water tank. Maybe I don't know. You want to stop the pump as soon as you are at 100%, etc. You know that's possible. This sensor is different. So this sensor is based on the voltage. So that's how I configured it. It's not current; it is voltage in this case. And it's based on, and I believe that's why I don't need an external power supply. But that's something you might be able to correct me. Sensor value 0 is when it's empty, so in this position. And when it's full, it's at 10 in the other position. That's what I configured here. I just said wastewater. You can use whatever you want to use it for. You can even work with custom shapes. I have not crossed that line yet. And you see this sensor value You can push it all the way, 10.2. You might adjust to 10.2 if you want to, but there's just on and off. So, and there's nothing in between, as you can see. I try, maybe sometimes popping up, nope, nothing. So that's what it is for this one. Pretty simple, nothing crazy. Going back to this page, you see it. And yeah, that's about how you connect it with the GX Tank. Let's continue with Node-RED. And we're working here with the Raspberry Pi 4 at the moment, so I'm going to my Node-RED. And Node-RED, you might remember up there somewhere, way up in the corner, there is already a Node-RED part 1, but we also worked on a part 2 already. And when I look at this one looks like this at the moment. And always work in progress, obviously. But so that's what it looks like at the moment. And when I go here, we're talking about, I'm just talking about the water bottle and the sensor, which actually has a 0 to 100% in individual steps, which not only opens and closes. So what I've done, first of all, and I replicate it here again, we'll work on this one, you see. So there is already a tank sensor widget, or node, sorry, there's a tank sensor node. And I thought about, okay, it would be cool to use a gouge at the beginning, but then I came up, look at this one, there is like a freshwater filling level, which is amazing. It has a little animation, so I thought that is way cooler. So which one is that? That one is also the gouge. It's also the gouge. I always say gouge, it's gauge, sorry. But that's what I'm used to. So let's see, tank sensor. First of all, we will have to make a decision between 140 and 140. You have to play around because it's only 4 channels, you'll find it. Tank capacity, fluid type, tank level, product ID, etc. So I went straight ahead with tank sensor, with tank level percentage. And just say OK and see what it tells you. And then I connect it with the gauge. Connect it and then open the gauge. And this one will assign to home. It's a gauge, but we can change the type instead of having gauge. But we'll look at it in a second. So you know 0 to 100%, right? So that's what it is. I'll label this one water tank sensor percentage. Hit OK. Hit deploy. Confirm deploy. And you remember I have a water tank over here, so we see that already, and then we have something down here. And it tells us it's at 100%, so it's probably, when I close this, yep, it's the wrong one. Okay, so it's the other sensor. It's a pretty cool animation, right? Nice. We'll go back. So that means I have to go into this GX Tank 140, so I see already, yeah, always the value what it receives, it's over here in the corner. So we can see 100 is the wrong one. I'll switch to the other GX Tank. I'll keep the tank sensor, tank level, hit deploy, confirm, go over here, whoop, there we are, 64, 68. That's what we saw the whole time. Nice. Let me shake the table. There we go. So that's pretty big. I show you how you can change it and what you can use it for, and that's totally up to you. That's your freedom. So going again to the gauge, and you can see type. You can change it to donut, compass, level. Let's use a donut. Donut. Oh, we can even change the unit to liter. Done. Deploy. Deploy. Let's go over here and see what's changed. Oh, nice. All right. So we have a filling tank over here. And now we can play around with, hey, I want to have, I don't know, I want to have, you know, changing from blue to yellow, a 20, etc. And yellow to red, I don't know, 85. But it's obviously the other way around, it should be. But I don't want a donut because it doesn't make sense, so I wanted to have the level. And I did like this one, so there's only range 0 to 100. And now I click OK, deploy, confirm, and it changes. There we go. Water tank sensor percentage. And this is huge, right? So let's go in here really quick. Let's see if we can change that. Size is auto, so you can change it to your appropriate size. I'll do a 5x5 and see what it does, because that's something which is kind of trial and error for me as well. And yeah, there we are. That's a nice size. I like that. And now we see also, you see both water tanks in this case going up and down because it's the same source, but when I pour in a little bit more, it should go up. There we go. 72, 76, sensors adjusting. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So this is how you configure the sensor, right? So, and something which I didn't touch base last time, but I will also do in part 3. This is not part 3. Well, let's call it part 3 maybe, but who knows. It's not a part, another addition to part 2. It's a follow-up to part 2 up there. And what I haven't talked about, but you can see that the order changed here completely. I know we started with another, actually we did start with another node, which is, yeah, last time, part 2, we ended with this node, right? You might remember that's how it did look at the end. So because I don't have the sensor connected there, we'll have an official part 3 later on, and we'll add the water tank there as well. For now, I only wanted to show you how the water tank works, so going back to this dashboard, and I changed it to this green, Toby's Node Red, Raspberry Pi 4, in all those kind of things we'll touch base on part 3. But for this one, I only wanted to show you the water tank, how you can connect it. One thing, let's see, basically, so this is just for the water tank, and the next step would be to understand how we can actually have an action or trigger something with, hey, this is at 0, or hey, this is at 100%. And that's something which we'll follow up next time. I need to build a use case because I haven't done that yet. So what we're doing last thing is just filling up this one to 100% and see how far we can get. So let's do that. Oh, funny. It says liter, but it's actually... Sorry, that was my bad. I didn't see that. We have to change that. It's not liter, it's percent. And whoop, there we go, 100%. All right, let me know. All right, let me know in the comment section below if you need to know more and what you think about this. I hope this is helpful. Let me also know if this is helpful or if you're missing something. I appreciate you tuning in and hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching. Cheers!